The automotive repair industry thrives on a simple principle that most drivers never realize until it is too late. The less you understand about your vehicle, the more profitable you become. Every year, millions of car owners spend thousands of dollars on repairs and maintenance that could have been prevented with basic knowledge and simple habits. The industry does not want you to know that the majority of expensive repairs stem from neglecting small, manageable issues that anyone can handle with minimal effort and knowledge. Consider this sobering reality. Your mechanic makes money when things break, not when they work perfectly. While many professionals in the field are honest and skilled, the system itself rewards problems over prevention. That dashboard warning light that sends you rushing to the shop might be something you could diagnose and even fix yourself for a fraction of the professional service cost. The routine maintenance they insist must be done at precise intervals often has significant flexibility that they conveniently forget to mention. The expensive additives and treatments they push might be completely unnecessary for your particular vehicle and driving habits. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on 17 essential maintenance practices that could dramatically extend your vehicle's life while keeping more money in your wallet. These are not complicated procedures requiring specialized training or expensive tools. These are straightforward checks and habits that the industry would prefer you never learned because your ignorance is their income stream. Starting with something so simple yet so overlooked, we need to talk about that small rubber ring on your gas cap. Most drivers never give it a second thought, but that gasket is actively protecting your fuel system every single day. Made from rubber that degrades over time, this tiny component maintains the pressure seal that keeps fuel vapors contained and prevents contamination from entering your tank. When this gasket fails, and it will without proper care, you suddenly face mysterious check engine lights, failed emissions tests, and fuel efficiency problems that seem to come from nowhere. The solution costs less than $1 and takes 30 seconds. Once each year, apply a small amount of clear silicone grease to this gasket. Work it around the entire ring. Then twist your gas cap on and off several times to distribute the lubricant evenly. This simple action keeps the rubber flexible, prevents cracking, and maintains that critical seal. If your gasket already shows signs of deterioration like cracks or stiffness, replace the entire cap immediately. A new gas cap costs far less than diagnosing phantom problems caused by a failed seal. The fascinating aspect of this maintenance item is how frequently it gets overlooked during professional services. No mechanic will ever remind you to maintain your gas cap gasket, because the diagnostic fees generated by a failed cap far exceed the profit from selling you a new one. Moving to your braking system, there is a critical step that most people skip during brake pad replacement that could destroy your expensive anti-lock braking components. When you compress the brake caliper to make room for new pads, you are forcing old, contaminated brake fluid backward through your system. This fluid carries metal particles, moisture, and debris that have accumulated over thousands of miles of use. Without proper precaution, this contaminated fluid gets pushed directly into your ABS module, master cylinder, and other sensitive components that were never designed to handle such contamination. The proper technique involves opening the bleeder valve before compressing the caliper. This allows the old fluid to escape rather than contaminate your entire system. You are essentially flushing out the worst fluid while making room for your new pads. Just remember to monitor your master cylinder reservoir during this process. If it runs dry and air enters the system, you will need to perform a complete brake bleeding procedure to restore proper function. This extra step takes minutes but could prevent thousands of dollars in ABS module replacement costs. Professional mechanics often skip this step because the damage it causes will not manifest immediately. By the time your ABS module fails from contamination, you will never connect it to that brake job from 6 months ago. One of the most empowering tools you can own fits in your glove compartment and costs less than a tank of gas. An OBD2 scanner transforms that intimidating check engine light into readable information you can actually understand. Since 1996, every vehicle sold in the United States includes a diagnostic port, usually located under the dashboard near the steering column. This port allows you to communicate directly with your vehicle's computer system, accessing the same diagnostic codes that shops charge substantial fees to retrieve. Modern scanners connect to your smartphone, translating cryptic codes into plain language explanations. Instead of panicking when that light appears, you can immediately identify whether you are dealing with something serious like a misfire or something simple like a loose gas cap, even if you choose to have a professional handle the repair. Walking in with specific knowledge about the problem prevents unnecessary upselling and ensures you only pay for what actually needs fixing. Knowledge becomes power when dealing with repair shops, and this small device provides more knowledge than most mechanics expect customers to possess. The evolution of these scanners has been remarkable. Early versions required technical knowledge to interpret codes, but current models provide detailed explanations, suggest likely causes, and even estimate repair costs. Some advanced models monitor real-time data from various sensors. allowing you to spot developing problems before they trigger warning lights. That maintenance-required light on your dashboard operates on nothing more than a mileage counter. It does not actually monitor your oil condition, filter status, or any other maintenance item. Manufacturers program these lights to illuminate at predetermined intervals, pushing you back to dealerships for scheduled services. But you can reset this reminder yourself in less than a minute, maintaining complete control over your maintenance schedule rather than being nudged by an arbitrary timer. The reset process varies by manufacturer, but most vehicles follow a similar pattern. With your engine off, turn the ignition to the accessory position. Make sure your odometer displays total mileage, not a trip meter reading. Turn the ignition off, then press and hold the trip reset button while turning the ignition back on. Continue holding until the maintenance light This simple procedure saves unnecessary trips to the dealership and puts you back in charge of your maintenance timeline. Additionally, resetting your trip meter after each oil change creates a running record of miles between services, giving you accurate data about your actual maintenance intervals. What dealerships will not tell you is that these predetermined intervals often have substantial safety margins built in. Your oil might be perfectly serviceable well beyond the indicated change interval, especially if you use high-quality synthetic oil and drive primarily on highways. The fuel additive industry generates billions of dollars annually by promising miraculous improvements to your engine performance, fuel economy, and longevity. The harsh truth is that modern gasoline already contains sophisticated additive packages, developed by petroleum engineers with massive research budgets. If a simple bottle of additive could genuinely deliver dramatic improvements, fuel companies would already include it in their products and advertise the benefits aggressively. Most fuel additives provide minimal benefits that rarely justify their cost. The few legitimate products like certain fuel system cleaners might help vehicles with significant carbon buildup or those running consistently on low-quality fuel. But for the average driver using quality gasoline and maintaining their vehicle properly, these products represent expensive placebos. Your money is better spent on regular maintenance items like quality oil, filters, and proper tire inflation that provide measurable, proven benefits. The marketing of these products relies heavily on anecdotal evidence and carefully worded claims that sound impressive but promise nothing concrete. Terms like helps improve or may increase provide legal protection while creating false expectations. The most egregious offenders are octane boosters, which typically raise octane ratings by fractions of a point, far below anything your engine would notice. Battery shopping seems straightforward until you realize that new batteries sitting on the shelf might already be months old, slowly losing capacity before ever seeing service. Batteries begin degrading the moment they leave the factory, and that bargain battery with a thick layer of dust has likely lost significant capacity during its extended shelf life. Always check the manufacture date stamped on the battery case, looking for units less than 30 days old. Before installation, give any new battery a full charge to ensure maximum capacity and performance from day one. This simple precaution extends battery life and prevents those frustrating moments when a supposedly new battery fails prematurely. The chemistry inside batteries continues whether installed or sitting idle. Lead sulfate crystals form on the plates, reducing capacity and increasing internal resistance. Temperature extremes accelerate this degradation. That battery sitting in a hot warehouse or freezing storage room deteriorates faster than one in climate-controlled conditions. Smart battery shopping means checking multiple sources, comparing manufacture dates, and sometimes paying slightly more for genuinely fresh inventory. The automatic shutoff at gas pumps exists for good reason, yet many drivers ignore this clear signal to stop fueling. Modern vehicles include sophisticated vapor recovery systems, featuring charcoal canisters that capture fuel vapors for emissions control. When you overfill your tank, liquid fuel can enter these vapor systems, causing expensive damage that manifests as poor performance, failed emissions tests, and persistent check engine lights. Additionally, gasoline expands as it warms, and that extra fuel you forced into the tank has nowhere to go, except potentially onto the ground or into systems never designed to handle liquid fuel. The environmental impact extends beyond your vehicle. Spilled gasoline evaporates, creating ground-level ozone and contributing to air pollution. It contaminates soil and groundwater, creating long-term environmental damage from a momentary attempt to squeeze in extra fuel. The economic waste is equally significant. That extra gasoline either spills, evaporates, or gets recovered by the pump's vapor system. You literally watch money evaporate while damaging both your vehicle and environment. Your engine breathes through its air filter, and just like you would struggle breathing through a dirty cloth, your engine suffers when its filter becomes clogged. Despite myths about dirty filters providing better filtration, the reality is that restricted airflow forces your engine to work harder, reducing power, decreasing fuel economy, and potentially causing long-term damage to internal components. Checking your air filter takes seconds and costs nothing. Simply remove it and hold it up to bright light. If light cannot penetrate easily, replacement is overdue. Most drivers should check their filter every few months, with replacement intervals varying from 3 months in dusty conditions to annually for primarily highway driving. The cabin air filter deserves equal attention but receives even less. This filter cleans air entering your passenger compartment, removing pollen, dust, exhaust, particles, and other contaminants. A clogged cabin filter reduces heating and cooling efficiency, strains your blower motor, and allows unpleasant odors to persist. Many drivers never realize this filter exists until years of accumulated debris completely blocks airflow. Replacement typically requires only accessing the glove box area. Making this a perfect DIY maintenance item, hidden within your engine is a small valve that most drivers never hear about until it fails catastrophically. The positive crankcase ventilation valve manages pressure and harmful gases within your engine, routing them back through the intake system for proper combustion. When this inexpensive component fails, pressure builds within the crankcase, forcing oil past seals and gaskets, while allowing harmful vapors to contaminate your oil. The resulting damage includes oil leaks, increased consumption, and accelerated engine wear. Testing requires no special tools or expertise. Remove the valve and shake it. A functioning PCV valve rattles freely. A failed valve remains silent, clogged with carbon and sludge. For additional confirmation, blow through the valve. Air should flow in only one direction. Bidirectional flow indicates failure. Replacement takes minutes and costs less than a pizza, yet prevents hundreds or thousands in potential engine damage. The PCV system represents elegant engineering, turning potentially harmful byproducts into usable fuel while maintaining proper crankcase pressure. When functioning correctly, it extends engine life, reduces emissions, and improves fuel economy. Yet this critical component rarely receives attention until problems develop. Spark plugs generate the precisely timed explosions that power your vehicle, firing thousands of times per minute under extreme conditions. While modern iridium plugs can last 100,000 miles, their performance degrades gradually long before complete failure. Worn plugs cause subtle problems like reduced fuel economy, decreased power, and harder starting that develops so slowly drivers often do not notice until replacement reveals dramatic improvement. Checking plug condition requires basic tools and reveals valuable information about engine health. Black sooty deposits indicate rich fuel mixture or oil consumption. White, blistered insulators suggest overheating. Rust-colored deposits are normal. Any significant electrode wear, heavy deposits, or damage warrants immediate replacement. The gap between electrodes critically affects performance. As plugs wear, this gap increases, requiring higher voltage to create spark. Your ignition system works harder, potentially damaging coils and other components. Modern engines with coil and plug ignition systems make individual coil failure more common when forced to overcome worn plugs. Replacing plugs at proper intervals costs far less than replacing ignition coils damaged by overwork. Your vehicle operates on multiple fluid systems beyond just engine oil, yet most drivers ignore everything except what appears on their standard oil change receipt. Transmission fluid degrades from heat and contamination, losing its ability to protect expensive internal components. Brake fluid absorbs moisture from the atmosphere, reducing its boiling point and potentially causing brake failure under heavy use. Coolant becomes acidic over time, corroding your cooling system from within. Power steering fluid breaks down under the extreme pressures of normal operation. Each fluid has a service life specified in your owner manual, though many shops conveniently forget to mention these requirements unless specifically asked. Some manufacturers label certain fluids as lifetime fill, a misleading term that really means lasting the warranty period, not your actual ownership duration. Regular fluid maintenance costs hundreds but prevents repairs costing thousands. Create a simple chart listing each fluid, its specified change interval, and your last service date. This basic record keeping ensures nothing gets overlooked. Differential fluid often gets completely ignored despite experiencing extreme pressures and temperatures. This thick oil lubricates gears that multiply engine torque, generating tremendous heat and stress. Neglected differential fluid leads to gear wear, bearing failure, and eventually complete differential destruction requiring thousands in repairs. Tire pressure might seem like basic maintenance, but the implications extend far beyond just tire wear. Incorrect pressure affects fuel economy, handling, braking distance, and suspension component life. Underinflated tires generate excessive heat, leading to premature failure and potential blowouts. Overinflation reduces the contact patch with the road, decreasing traction and causing center tread wear. Both conditions dramatically reduce tire life while compromising safety. Weekly pressure checks take minutes, but provide immediate feedback about tire condition. Slow leaks become apparent before causing problems. Seasonal temperature changes that affect pressure get corrected promptly. That slight pull to one side that indicates alignment issues gets noticed early. Digital gauges provide accuracy impossible with old-style pencil gauges. and their low cost makes them essential equipment for every vehicle. Remember that tire pressure specifications change with load. Your door jamb sticker shows pressures for normal and maximum loads. Failing to adjust pressure when carrying heavy cargo or towing accelerates wear and increases failure risk. Alignment issues develop gradually from normal driving, accelerating dramatically after impacts with potholes, curbs, or debris. Misalignment causes uneven tire wear patterns that destroy expensive tires prematurely, while forcing suspension components to work beyond their design parameters. The symptoms include vehicle pulling, off-center steering wheel, and unusual tire wear patterns. A simple test involves briefly releasing the steering wheel on a straight, level road. Any drift indicates alignment problems requiring professional adjustment. The rubber components under your hood endure extreme temperature cycles, chemical exposure, and constant stress. Belts that drive critical components like alternators, water pumps, and power steering pumps deteriorate predictably over time. Hoses carrying coolant and other fluids develop weak spots that fail catastrophically without warning. Monthly visual inspections identify problems before roadside failures occur. Look for cracks, glazing, or fraying on belts. Feel hoses for soft spots, bulges, or brittleness. These components cost little but cause major problems when they fail. Preventive replacement based on condition rather than arbitrary schedules prevents most failures. Cold engines suffer accelerated wear during their first minutes of operation. Oil sits in the pan, thick and sluggish, unable to flow quickly to critical components. Metal parts have contracted from cold, creating larger clearances that allow excessive movement. The combustion process operates inefficiently, producing more contaminants and deposits. Yet many drivers compound these problems by immediately demanding heat from their climate control system, which draws warmth from the engine coolant, further delaying the warm-up process. Allowing your engine to warm gradually before demanding heat ensures oil reaches proper viscosity. Metal components expand to design specifications, and the combustion process stabilizes. This patience translates directly to extended engine life and reduced maintenance costs. Wait until the temperature gauge shows movement before activating heating systems. Your engine will reach operating temperature faster, providing better heat while reducing wear. The most destructive practice happens every morning in driveways across the country. Drivers start their cold engines and immediately accelerate hard, forcing maximum stress on components lacking proper lubrication or temperature. Those first 30 to 60 seconds after starting represent the highest wear period in your engine's operating cycle. Oil has not yet reached critical components. Metal parts have not expanded to proper clearances. The combustion process has not stabilized. High RPM operation during this vulnerable period causes exponential wear that accumulates over time. Short trips present unique challenges that many drivers never consider. Every cold start creates moisture within the engine as combustion byproducts condense on cold surfaces. Normal operation evaporates this moisture harmlessly, but short trips that never fully warm the engine allow moisture accumulation, contaminating oil and forming acids that attack internal components. The oil never reaches temperature sufficient to evaporate contaminants, growing progressively more contaminated with each short trip. Whenever possible, combine errands into longer drives that allow complete warm-up cycles. The difference between multiple short trips and one longer journey dramatically affects engine longevity and maintenance requirements. Seasonal preparation acknowledges that your vehicle faces different challenges throughout the year. Winter demands thinner oil viscosities that flow properly when cold, batteries with maximum cold cranking capacity, and tire pressures adjusted for temperature extremes. Summer requires cooling system efficiency, proper oil viscosity for high-temperature operation, and attention to components stressed by heat exposure. These seasonal adjustments require minimal effort but prevent weather-related failures that leave you stranded when conditions are most challenging. The knowledge gap between drivers and the automotive industry represents billions in unnecessary expenses annually. Every warning light you cannot interpret, every mysterious noise you cannot identify, and every maintenance milestone you do not understand becomes potential profit for someone else. But armed with these 17 fundamental practices, you transform from profitable ignorance to informed ownership. You recognize problems early when solutions are simple and inexpensive. You perform basic maintenance that prevents major repairs. You walk into repair shops with knowledge that commands respect and prevents exploitation. Your vehicle represents one of your largest investments. Yet most drivers know more about their smartphones than the machines they trust with their lives daily. This knowledge imbalance benefits an industry that profits from complexity and confusion. But maintenance is not rocket science. These 17 practices require no special training, minimal investment, and modest time commitment. The payoff comes in extended vehicle life, reduced repair costs, and the confidence that comes from understanding the machine you depend upon. The industry may prefer your ignorance, but your wallet and your safety demand better. Take control of your automotive knowledge, implement these practices consistently, and watch your vehicle reward you with reliable service. while others pay for preventable problems. The difference between an informed owner and an ignorant consumer often amounts to thousands of dollars and years of additional vehicle life.